Emmanuella Fernandes, and I'm from Allan Gray. I'm a client relationship manager at Allan Gray, and I'm here today to provide you with insights to what we deem is important when it comes to financial investments. The strategic markets team in particular, their main purpose is to transform our client base to be more representative of the demographics of South Africa. So having a look at the agenda today, I'm going to take you through who we are as Allan Gray, investor behavior, as well as our products and our fund range. And then we'll have a Q&A session at the end, but please feel free to stop me if you've got any questions during the session. So Allan Gray is the largest privately owned investment management firm in South Africa. We were established in 1973 by Dr. Allan Gray, the man. Just to give you a bit of background about Dr. Allan Gray, he was born in the Western Cape, where he went to Rhodes University and he qualified as a chartered accountant. He then went over to the States to Harvard University, where he obtained his MBA degree. He worked for an investment management firm for a few years, after which he returned to South Africa to establish what we know today as Allan Gray Limited. We are affiliated to our sister company that does exactly what we do, but on a global scale. We have 1,200 employees and 24 investment professionals. Now, you might find it strange that I'm isolating these 24 investment professionals, but this will later make sense in my presentation. So our main purpose, as I said, is to help our clients grow wealth over the long term. So this is an actual representation of our clients. So we didn't copy and paste this from Google. These are actual clients of Allan Gray. And we're out there to fight the misconception that Allan Gray is for the super elite or super wealthy, because it's not the case. Allan Gray is for anyone that can invest within our minimums. And our minimum currently is 500 Rand. So how do you go about choosing an investment manager? So people often look to performance as a key consideration when choosing an investment manager. But unfortunately, past performance is not an indication of future returns. We can't guarantee those returns. So we think there's 3 other key considerations that you have to take into account when choosing an investment manager. The first one is the investment manager's philosophy. So what is their approach when it comes to investing? And does this resonate with you as an investor? The second thing is process. So how do they implement the investment philosophy, and are they consistent with this philosophy? The third thing is the people. So who are the portfolio managers that are taking care of your money? What is the team who is the team consistent of? Do they have succession plans in place? So this is Allan Gray's investment philosophy. So very simply put, we try and find value in stocks, and we try and buy them at a discount. Okay? So if you look at the red line, this represents the share price in the market or the stock price in the market. And as we know, shares go up and down. They fluctuate in the market. The black line represents the intrinsic value of the business or the market value of the business. So very simply put, that is just what a prudent businessman will pay for that particular share or stock. We go and buy these stocks at a discount relative to the intrinsic value, and we hold these shares until they reach their market value. Now, those 24 investment professionals that I alluded to earlier, they're responsible for implementing our investment philosophy. So they're responsible in deciding which stocks to buy and which stocks to sell. And they do a whole lot of analysis. They do quantitative analysis as well as qualitative analysis. So when it comes to long-term wealth creation, we believe there's 2 important roles. One is the investment management's role, which is to provide superior long-term returns. okay? And the second role is how you behave as an investor. And investor behavior is very important because this is the difference between investment return and investor return. So let's look at an example. Say Allan Gray finds an opportunity, but this opportunity is only going to come into fruition in 4 to 5 years' time. But the investor doesn't stay on track. He takes his money out or he switches his money into another fund, not understanding whether or not that fund works for him and his goals and his time horizon. Other things that influence investor behavior are emotions like greed or fear. So, for example, people get greedy when they hear like their friend's money is doing particularly well at some organization or they've bought the best stock on the market, and we rush out and we go and buy that share without considering whether it fits to you and your time horizon. And we most likely buy that share at a premium, so where the share price is quite high. Then what happens? The share price drops, as shares do, because shares don't work in a straight line. They fluctuate. And then what happens? Fear trickles in, and the investor decides this is the worst thing he's ever done, and he's going to withdraw his funds or switch it to another fund. Okay? And we believe that it's best to spend time in the market rather than trying to time the market. Because in the long run, shares tend to deliver an inflation-beating return. So it will always beat cash or, for example, your money in the bank. So an example of this is what played out with the Standard Bank share price. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Nenegate, where we had a weekend finance minister, Mr. Des van Rooyen. And there was a lot of political uncertainty regarding the leadership in this country, okay? And we saw the Standard Bank share price drop by more than 55% in US dollars. So our investment professionals went back, had a look at the Standard Bank share, and they still thought it to be a good value share. There was no structural changes within Standard Bank. There were no leadership changes within Standard Bank. And there were no financial changes. But people were merely responding to the political noise. So we thought this was a good opportunity to increase our share exposure in Standard Bank. And we saw the share price increase by more than 200% in US dollars. And this is how we're able to create long-term wealth for our clients. So where do we start? So the first point of call, we would say, is to have a plan. So what are your goals? What is your plan? What is your short, medium, and long-term goals? The next point of call is to have a process. So how do we go about implementing those plans? And then the last thing that you need to consider is which type of product is suited to you. So there are different funds to meet different needs at Allan Gray. So if you have to look at short-term savings, so these speak to an emergency fund, right, when life happens. And you're more than likely going to be able to access these funds between 1 and 2 years' time. So then a money market fund would be best suited to you. If we have to look at your medium-term needs, so this is if you're saving for a particular purchase. So maybe you're saving for a deposit on a car, or you're saving to buy a house, or you're saving for your child's education, and you're wanting an inflation-beating return, but you're only going to access your money between 3 to 5 years' time, then perhaps a stable or a balanced fund would be most suited to you. Okay? Then if we have a look at the long-term growth, and this speaks to our retirement savings and our pension savings. And here we're wanting to get more growth. Sorry, my clicker. And we're going to leave this money here for over 5 years. Then the equity would be most likely suited to you. So having a look at the Allan Gray product range, We've got a very concise product range, and I'll go through all of them now. So the top half here is your discretionary funds, and these are your non-discretionary funds. So if we have to look at the unit trust account, okay? So unit trust is flexible. You can put money in, you can take money out, although it is taxable. So any income you earn, any capital gains growth, or any dividends that you earn in that account will be taxed, okay? You can't nominate a beneficiary in a unit trust. So what will happen in the event of your death? It will go for part of your estate, and your executor will deal with it according to your will, okay? Our next account is a tax-free investment account. So it's exactly what that is. It's tax-free. So it works exactly the same as a unit trust, except that it's tax-free. So you don't pay any income tax, any capital gains tax, or any dividends tax within the fund. But it is restricted. You can only contribute up to 33,000 Rand in a tax year. So from the 1st of March to the 28th of February, you can only contribute 33,000 Rand. That's the maximum that you can contribute. Now, this account was brought about by the government to encourage South Africans to save, because we've got a very, very low savings culture in South Africa. So, as I said, it's not taxable in any way, and in this account, you can nominate a beneficiary. So in the event of your death, whoever you put down on the account, the money will go to them. Then we've got an endowment plan, which is a 5-year plan, okay? You're allowed to take, in those 5 years, you're allowed to take one withdrawal, okay? But this is most likely suitable for people that have a tax rate over 30%, because it's actually a good tax savings vehicle, but only for people who have a tax rate over 30%. And you can nominate beneficiaries there as well. Okay, then looking at our non-discretionary, we've got retirement annuity, preservation funds, and living annuity. So if we have to look at the retirement annuity, it's a savings vehicle for your retirement. So you can only access this money when you reach age 55. Okay, that might change, but as it stands, the age is 55. It must comply with Regulation 28, and all that is a guideline to say you can't invest more than 75% in equities and 30% offshore. So that's just to protect the investors' money, because after all, this is going to pay you an income when you retire. So it's going to pay you a pension when you retire. And you can nominate beneficiaries here as well. Our next account is a preservation fund account. So what often happens is people leave the employer and they go to another employer, and they get the option of taking their pension out, which is a very naughty thing to do, okay? Because that's exactly what that money is designed for. It's there so that when you do retire one day, you're going to be able to draw an income off of that money. So these accounts are there to preserve your retirement savings, okay? There's a pension preservation fund and a provident preservation fund. And yeah, you're limited to once off withdrawal. And again, you can only access this at age 55. Our next account is a living annuity, which basically just pays you an income once you've retired. So you can choose the income amount. It's between 2.5% to 17.5%. And you can get that income monthly, semi-annually, quarterly, or annually, whichever one you decide. And you can nominate a beneficiary on this account. But that vehicle is obviously money from your retirement annuity or maybe your preservation fund, and you put it into your living annuity, and it will continue to pay you an income when you've reached retirement. Okay, so I just want to show you this example. There's 2 key points that I want to take out of this. One is the importance of time, and 2, the power of compounding. So client A invests 1,000 Rand every month for 10 years. and then stops. Okay, so at year 10, they stop saving money and they leave their money in the investment to grow. And it continues growing. Client B delays investing. So they decide they're not going to invest for 10 years, and in year 10, they put 1,000 Rand a month in a savings vehicle for 30 years. Okay? So client A has put in 120,000 Rand, and client B has put in 360,000 Rand. Okay, so almost 3 times, in fact 3 times as much as client A. But what we can see here from the graph is that client B never really catches up to client A, because client A had time and the power of compounding, where you earn interest on interest. So client A, at the same point in time, is left with 1.6 million, where client B is left with just under 1.4 million. And then I'm going to end off with this quote that says, "Someone is sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago." Thank you. So on all of our products, besides for the retirement ones, so our minimum contribution is 500 Rand per month or 20,000 Rand lump sum. So you can contribute monthly, or if you want, you can put in a lump sum and you can just leave it there. Also, with your contributions, you can say if you start a 500 Rand monthly contribution and in 6 months' time you decide, no, you can't continue doing it, you can stop your contributions and then you can leave your money in the account to grow. So that's also another option. So the question, very good question, is it only for working individuals? It's for anyone that can afford 500 Rand. So if you want to open the investment in your child's name, you can definitely do that. That is an option. Okay. And then I just want to leave by saying we do these presentations free of charge. We go see schools, we go to corporates, we go to government employees, young professionals, and we call this group or this setting a circle of friends. So we have circle of friends events. So if you or anyone that you know of want to get a group of people together, we can always come and facilitate presentations wherever you would like, or we can also host a presentation at Allan Gray if you guys would like. Thank you. I just have one more thing. In the packs, there's feedback forms. So if you guys wouldn't mind filling out the feedback forms, and if you want anyone to give you a ring and just explain a bit more about the investments, we can also do that. Thank you.